What are the chakras? Let's start with the word itself. Chakra is a Sanskrit word that is naming or pointing to an innate system within this total system of your embodiment, within your subtle body. Yes, you have a subtle body. Undoubtedly, you know that you have a physical body, and that is part of your embodiment. But at a deeper level, you also participate in and incarnate into a subtle body, which is a system composed of vortexes of energy, channels that move energy, structures that transform basically subtle, unformed patterns into experiences that we can then express as our life. Now, we call them chakras because that's what we've learned to call them through the great gifts and the great inquiries and the great studies of the yogis who named these vortexes of energy and intelligence the chakras, because to the subtle perception, to the inner eye, often they appear as wheels that turn and spin. They also appear as organic, moving, lotus-like patterns of, again, energy and intelligence, of light. They're part of our subtle anatomy. Now, part of the process of the transmission of the ancient methodologies from India into our culture, which were greatly assisted by the movement of Paramahansa Yogananda, famed author of the Autobiography of a Yogi, moving from India to the United States a little over 100 years ago to bring these teachings here, calling them the chakras. He, recognizing the need, it's a need to translate the ancient methodologies and insights into language that relates to our current cultural mindset. He called them cerebral spinal centers. And one of his direct disciples, Shelley Trimmer, an American mystic and autodidact, who is the spiritual teacher of Goswami Kriyananda, who is mine and Devi's guru. Shelley Trimmer was this scientist, a mystic scientist. And he translated further the teachings of the ancients into metaphors and into language that even were more updated than saying cerebral spinal centers. He called the chakras mass energy converters. So the chakras are a system that is constantly working at the subtle level of your embodiment to convert and transform mass into energy and energy into mass. This process is happening continuously, both within your individual subtle body and also within the collective field, subtle field of our humanity. And indeed, it extends beyond this earth, the movement of this transformation. Mass energy converters. Where does this image come from? It comes from the great scientist mystic. Shelley was a mystic scientist. Albert Einstein was a scientist mystic. In his meditative revelation, he rearticulated the fundamental nature of our understanding of the universe and of the chakra system with his equation, E equals mc squared. Perhaps the world's most famous equation. But what does it mean? It means energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. But what does it really, really mean at its most basic level? What is it saying? It's saying that energy and mass or matter are interchangeable, that they're different expressions of the same thing. That mass can be transformed into energy. Energy can be converted into mass. And this is the function of the chakra system, to convert mass into energy, to convert energy into mass. Let's make it even more fundamental. Imagine an ice cube and imagine a bubbling brook. They're both of the essential nature of water, but they are different in their fixity and in their fluidity. Obviously, one is in a more fixed state, the other is in a more flexible state. One symbolizes mass in this model, and one symbolizes energy. We know that the water from the stream can be converted into ice. We know that the ice can be converted into water. For us, in our lives, this same duality, the same polarity of fixity and fluidity is endlessly at play. And it becomes really clear to us that it's at play when we're stuck, when we're struggling, whether it's with a situation, with a relationship, with an emotional pattern, or some way that they're all tangled together and we realize our mind, our emotion, our situation, our behavior, they're just stuck. They won't change. They're hardened. They're frozen. They are crystallized. So take a moment and just reflect on your life at this time or in your history. You can reflect on times when you were stuck. It's not that hard to remember for me. Times when my mind and emotions were frozen. And the situation, whether it was a work situation or a relational situation, or maybe it was a creativity situation, it was more like the frozen situation. And then through conditions, through effort, perhaps through insight, perhaps through blessing and love, that mindset thawed and you experienced that which was unchangeable changing, that which was frozen beginning to flow. And this is E equals MC squared in our human experience. So right now in your life, there may be, in fact, situations that are frozen or are maybe beginning to freeze. Relationships, perhaps, that feel stalled or in some fixed pattern. Mind states, emotional states that are heavy or immobile. All the sages, all the mystics, all the yogis experience these very same frozen states of being because they have a human nervous system. And in their meditative inquiry, what they discovered was E equals MC squared. They discovered that there were places, key places within the subtle body system, gathering places, as it were, where the transformation of fixity to fluidity, of mass to energy, of form into emptiness, of the frozen into the moving, could take place. And they called these holy sites the chakras. This is the esoteric meaning of the pilgrimage. The pilgrimage to holy sites is enacted externally. For the yogi, the pilgrimage is to turn back and to take ourselves in consciousness to those holy subtle places, those vortexes, those gathering places where the equation of transformation can be enacted, where we can shift from the rigid, outmoded forms of our heart, mind, and relationship, and even our worldview. We could shift them into a state of fluidity and a state of creativity. And once it's in that state of fluidity, we can reform renew, recreate our life, our mind, our heart, our relationships, our world into a form that embodies more congruently, more deeply, more authentically the goodness, the truth, and the beauty that is at the very heart of life and in the very heart of your life. So that is the genius of the sages. They've not only created and understood this as an equation or as a concept, not only as a spiritual teaching or set of poetic images. No, it's gone deeper. There is methodology, by which we can, in our own experience, skillfully, precisely, and gracefully enact the E=mc² reality in our heart and mind. We can, by making the inner pilgrimage to the chakra sites, transform our lives in the only way they ever really do transform, from the inside out. From the inside out. That's our purpose in Chakra School. I look forward to making the inner pilgrimages with you.